following podcast is recorded and produced by the Podcast Precinct in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com. The Podcast Precinct. Consistency, creativity, culture.
The Nostalgia Funhouse proudly dedicates all episodes in the loving memory of Connie Chirac. Hey, Johnny. I'm glad you finally showed up.
Oh, yeah, man, I'm sorry. I got lost on the way here. I mean, this is a heck of a line for this show.
Yeah, I heard the show's great.
I've heard nothing but good things. The Talk No Less Politics show. It sounds fantastic.
I don't think we're standing in line for that one.
That's what
I think it's
what this is. Politics. No, let's talk about it. That's what this show's called.
I see a different. Wait.
Okay.
No,
yes,
we're
politics.
standing. No, we're standing in line for the Nostalgia Funhouse.
Oh, you know what? That sounds even better.
Jeez. You know what? They probably got a really great sponsor.
I bet they do.
Should I get the hot dogs or the hamburgers?
You'd be surprised who's coming into AM/PM mini markets for our mix and match special.
Hamburger, great. Hot dog, terrific. Oh.
Now you can get 2 Armour hot dogs or 2 100% all beef hamburgers, or even one of each done right here for just 99 cents.
This is it. I'll have a hot dog and a hamburger.
Sir, would you like a bag?
A bag? Is there a choice? What do people use?
Hello and welcome to the Nostalgia Funhouse, a fun house. I am one of your hosts with the sort of most. I am Johnny Townsend. I'm joined by my other host with the definite most, Mr. Andrew Lenz.
I think you have the most.
One of us has the most. I don't know who.
Maybe we should split the most equally.
I like this.
And
Equal most.
Equal most.
Yeah, equal most. Who has the most? We equally do.
We're the only show with the equally most.
That's right. You'll never see another show quite like this where both hosts are equally the most.
And that's what you need in this world. That's right. Equally most.
In this day and age where everything seems to be going awful, you need a host. Nay, I say. One host with the most? Sure, that's fine. But you know what would make that even better? Let's double it. 2 hosts who both are the most.
It's way too much most, but we're going to try and jam-pack all that most.
It could be so much most, Andrew. The world will not know what to do with it.
We were going to go into the Guinness Book of World Records for having the most.
That's our goal. If we don't make it there, I will do something drastic. I'm going to set something on fire. I don't know what yet, but whatever I set on fire, it will be the most.
It will be the most fire you've ever seen.
The most fire, yeah. That's how we do it. We're the hostesses with the mostesses. I always have a problem with that. Like when something's plural, but it feels like it's already plural, it really confuses me.
Isn't that just like an I then, like octopi?
Oh, maybe so. So would that be like most I?
That's
we're the host eyes with the most I.
That's most I sounds like some people from Mos Eisley were like, we're gonna make our own city on Tatooine, and we're just gonna call it Most Eye.
It definitely sounds Star Warsian somehow. Yeah. We got to go to Most Eye. That's where the new Jedi's at.
And I guarantee it, even if it's its own planet, it's a damn desert.
100%. It will definitely be desert.
Always a desert.
There's no way it's anything but desert. But it will be the most desert.
There's no just like, I know we're getting off here, but do you ever notice that there's like no like just normal planet in Star Wars that I've seen so far?
Yeah, what could be like just like a normal planet? Like just want to just like, you know, like Earth has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, like either it's cold or it's super hot, or and it still confuses me if Endor is its own planet or that was the moon of Endor.
Yeah, I'm really confused by that too. I just assumed it is indoor, or it could be outdoor.
Matter of fact, you know what? They confirmed it is actually Endor.
Yeah, so Endor
because of the Ewok movies.
Yeah, so Endor is the sister planet to Outdoor.
It's next to the pharmacy when you go into Walmart.
Yeah, Oh man, I'm very proud, too proud of myself. But this is, of course, the Nostalgia Funhouse,
Yes.
where we each week bring you something fun from the past. But
Yeah.
Andrew, every once in a while, we like to start the show with a segment that we call
Nostalgia fix or cash grab disc. We haven't done one in a while, so
That's right. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring up something that just came out, and we're going to decide, hey, is this great nostalgia fun? Is this thing awesome? Or are they just trying to cash in on something from the past? And today we're going to talk about Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
this is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. Ever. Daniel Radcliffe needs an Oscar, an Academy Award, a Golden Globe.
He's got to get an EGOT for this.
He's got to get any award that is out there for best actor.
Yeah, he's the most. He's the actor with the most.
He is no longer Harry Potter in my eyes as the first one.
He's Weird Al. Yeah,
he's
the weird one.
Normies. You're the normie.
Bunch of normies.
Oh my goodness.
Before we jump into that,
yeah,
Andrew, like on a scale of 1 to 10, with him being a giant Weird Al fanatic, like how much of a fan of Weird Al are you?
Oh geez. I probably don't know as much, but I do know, and anything Weird Al I've pretty much watched. I gotta say I'm like a 10. I'm a giant Weird Al fan. Weird Al to me was the musical genre I could get into because I'm not a musical person.
Yeah.
At all. I cannot play a guitar. I played the trombone like I mentioned last episode, but that was for like a year.
Yeah. And that's just so you could, like, whenever something funny happened, you could go. I
couldn't even do that, barely. I just remember wanting to quit because they said I didn't hold the trombone close enough to my, like, hard enough to my mouth.
Oh man, I know a certain podcast that can tell you how to put something at what degree angle correctly to your mouth.
Is it the panel discussion?
No.
Oh,
they'll send you a whole manifesto. That's 40 paragraphs long.
Okay. I know the answer to this one. Inside joke.
Oh man.
Remember my band teacher like just shoving the trombone in my face, going, "You gotta put it harder." God. Just like would just
Yeah, I'm with you. I've always loved music, but I cannot play anything. I even wanted to learn, and it just doesn't register with me how to do it. And I tried. And I have people in my family who are very good musically with guitars, and like my mom is a fantastic singer. My grandparents where they played in the church I grew up in all the time. My uncles play guitar, so it does run in the family. It just skipped me.
But that's what makes Weird Al so great, though, is that was that special niche comedic genre where you could listen to it, enjoy it, and say, I could kind of do something musically.
Yeah, I can most certainly change the lyrics to pre-existing songs.
Yes. His original, I'm not talking about Eat It, like in the movie, but his original song, Dare to Be Stupid, that's like based off of a Devo, is probably one of my favorite songs on the greatest soundtrack ever, the Transformers, the movie soundtrack from 1986. Nobody can tell me anything otherwise about that movie. It's a great soundtrack, but he is on there with Dare to Be Stupid. But
oh man, I do love his originals too. I think they get overlooked.
Yeah.
But he has some really good ones. I really enjoyed The Night That Santa Went Crazy. That's one I really like. I also like when he does those, like every album would have like a polka melody type thing. I love those too, where he just takes like a song and he doesn't change the lyrics, but he just goes through a bunch of them and plays them with his accordion, and it's incredible.
So for this movie, I really liked it because I watched Weird Al Behind the Music when VH1 was having it. And it was probably the cleanest Behind the Music there ever was.
Yes.
And then this comes out and it is a parody of that, and it ramps up Weird Al to like 1,000. And watching the behind the music and watching this movie, I'm like, that's why I have to say it's the greatest thing I've ever seen, because it is Weird Al. This is what everything you want from Weird Al in a movie. It does kind of remind me of UHF, but
Yeah.
if you were telling the story of Weird Al.
Yeah, this is how he should do it, right? Like it's also such high quality, honestly, that it most certainly could have got like a theatrical release.
Yeah.
That's how well made this is. And the fact that you get it free on Roku is pretty incredible. This is so good that I am praying to do a physical release so I can get it, because I would love to have the movie as a physical release. But it is it is very, very funny. Everyone in it, everyone in this movie is A-level fantastic.
I want to see the blooper reel, because there's no way some of those things were said without people breaking character.
Yeah, there's so many characters and comedians that pop up in this. Guaranteed there's going to be some great throwaway lines or something in that. It's just so incredible. And it's all based on Funny or Die put out like this trailer years ago. I'm talking like 5+ years ago, of a Weird Al movie. And like Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad played Al in that. And it had a lot of big names in it too. But he would play this at his live shows, this little trailer. And he said he just got tired of people literally coming up all the time and asking him, when's that movie coming out? So he's like, all right, I'll do it. And that's what we got. We got this. And it is just beyond fantastic. Basically, everything in this movie is almost exactly opposite what happened in his real life.
Yes.
Like his parents were actually pretty supportive. They were all for him having an accordion. I think one of the stories I heard him tell was his parents actually picked the accordion for him.
Over
like it could have been accordion
guitar.
Yeah, over the electric guitar. Because there was like another Yankovic person who was an accordion or something, who played accordion before him or something like that. Something of that gist. But yeah, and like he's been married to the same woman forever. He's not really ever done drugs or anything like that. But you can't have a biopic with just like somebody going through squeaky clean. Like his biggest thing, like it's not even a red flag. Like his biggest whatever in his career is probably the thing with Coolio, and they settled that beef. Like like Coolio even came out and said that he was like he wished he had understood that, you know, because he actually felt bad for being mad about it. So which is great, because that's probably my favorite Weird Al song is that one.
Is that one? I'm still a big fan of like the original Dare to Be Stupid. Favorite parody? Yeah, probably Amish Paradise.
You got to realize I grew up in a Mennonite church, and even say the word Mennonite in a song, it just didn't ever happened. And I heard that lyric and I was like, whoa, what? Wait a minute. And you know, we're all just crazy Mennonites, you know?
I love the father, like you said, because the parents are very supportive of him in real life, and the father found out is played by, for all you Pete and Pete fans out there, in this movie, it's played by Artie, the strongest man in the world.
That's right.
And I love it how they're just like, he's like 7 years old or 8 years old as it starts, and he's like, maybe I could get you a job at the factory. I
love that they literally every loose end is kind of covered except for what they make at that factory. You will never find out.
I love it when he starts yelling at him. It's like, you just call it the factory. What do you even make down there?
I love that the party that he gets called at it's like it's a bad thing, as an accordion party.
Girl's talking party. She's like, you may like Lawrence Welk, but so and so is so much better. It's like, not even close.
It's so great. But oh man, there's so much good stuff in this movie. I don't even want to spoil it. Like I just want people to it's free. I highly suggest, if you have just even the smallest bit of nostalgia for Weird Al, this is a must see.
Yes. This is definitely a nostalgia fix. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of Weird Al, you're going to be a fan of this. Like you said, the cameos are just off the wall for everybody, and the way that they find the people for 1980s kind of celebrities at that point.
Yeah.
where they're not really huge, but they're
know them.
celebrities that you would remember. Like you see a guy playing Pee Wee Herman
And Gallagher and
Yeah.
all the
and then
So and that's Paul F. Tompkins, I think, is playing Gallagher.
yes,
But there's a lot. If you're also like a hardcore comedy nerd like I am, you're going to recognize a lot of people in this.
Jack Black as Wolfman Jack.
Yeah, Thomas Lennon gets the snot beat out of him because he's trying to sell an accordion. So
And they tell him to be quiet as he's choking on his own blood.
So many great things. And also, and I'm not saying this as exaggeration, the ending of this movie for me personally is a top 3 all-time ending to a movie. It is so fantastic and out of nowhere. It really brought back vibes of the Holy Grail, the Mighty Python and the Holy Grail ending, which is one of my all-time favorite endings. So this one really brings back those same vibes in a way where it just comes out of left field. Like I can spoil Mighty Python because it's been out forever. You think that they're in like days of castles and King Arthur, but then they just get arrested by present day police. That's how that movie is.
I love that movie.
That movie is so fantastic. It's one of my all-time favorites. But and just like that movie, Weird Al has a lot of quotable parts in it as well. But yeah, most certainly it's nostalgia fix. I think we both agree hardcore on this one.
So let's get into our topic today. From one, say, comedic genius to another. This is guy that you brought. I'm not really too familiar with Mr. Don Knotts. Like I know Barney Fife. I know who is he? Mr. Furley.
Yeah,
the Mr. Roper. But other than that, he was just known as Barney Fife to me. But this guy was like brings back a lot of nostalgia memories for you.
Yeah, he had a fascinating life too. And I'll get into that here shortly. But he's highly influential, especially in comedy circles, not just for the things he said, but for physical comedy, like how to react to something in a comedic way is an art form. Honestly, it's truly an art form. And I would dare say, would be one of the grandmasters of said art form of that. Like how Barney would react to things in Mayberry is grade A comedy. Just his reactions and him trying to handle things while still trying to act like he's tough and things like that is just some incredible stuff. Obviously, I grew up watching the Andy Griffith Show. It was one of the things that would always come on, so we would watch it all the time. And I even recently rewatched it, and honestly, I think it still holds up overall. It's still fairly good. And it's the interactions between Barney and Andy Griffith that really makes that show. But there's only been a few times when a celebrity passed away that it really affected me. I mean, Robin Williams definitely affected me. A couple pro wrestlers like Roddy Piper affected me. But Don Knotts also did. Even though, he was he was like 80 in his early 80s. It was still sad to me. And man, it was a punch in the gut, But it's pretty fascinating his life, actually, even before he gets into acting.
Yeah.
Because it kind of comes out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, Don Knotts is, I think, mostly like what you said, Andy Griffin Show. And it's one of those, the Andy Griffin Show, I think, is one of those transgenerational TV shows that our grandparents probably watched, our parents watched, kind of passed down to us either through Nick at Night. I think it was like huge on TBS. I don't know why I remember it being always on TV.
I remember that too. Like they played it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And the great theme song too.
Oh yes. That's going to be like one of the top 10 most, like as soon as anybody whistles, that's what you think of, right?
Yeah. Ron Howard. I mean, the Andy
Oh,
Griffith
God,
Show
yeah.
is great, but he was that supporting guy in that show that everybody remembered,
Yeah.
like all the way
Uh,
through. Even though he didn't get his own spinoff that went to Mr. Gomer Pyle.
Well, there's a story behind all of that, and I can get into it. But basically, he was born in West Virginia, like a small town in West Virginia, and his dad had mental issues. He was like a schizophrenic and everything like that. So growing up was fairly rough for him, and he would trying to kind of figure out what he wanted to do. He'd end up going into, was it the Army or the Navy? It was one or the other.
I think he went
Um,
into the army.
he ended up on the water either way.
Yeah, he was in
Um,
the army.
so when he was serving, he he actually found out he liked to entertain, and he would entertain the other troops by doing. He was a ventriloquist, and he had a dummy, and eventually he decided, you know what, I can do this myself. And famously, he threw the dummy overboard into the great sea, and that's kind of where his career started taking off. As soon as he got back, he uh started looking for work. He moved to New York, I think it was, and it was kind of by chance he found out that he did radio first, and he actually had a pretty popular show on the radio. And he found out they were doing a play, and he goes, well, he ran over to see if he could get into the play, and that play, the lead was none other than Andy Griffith himself, and that's how the two meet. And they really were lifelong besties, or whatever you want to say. They were very close from then on out. And the story goes that they kind of went their separate ways after that play. Andy Griffith started developing a show. He put out a pilot for what would become the Andy Griffith Show, and Don Knotts saw it, and he called Andy, and he was like, hey, don't you think you need a deputy?
Yeah.
And bam, that's all it took. And then the Andy Griffith Show became a classic. And Barney was on there for 5 years until like he started getting movie deals, and he felt like he needed to get in on that. But that's kind of why he didn't get that spinoff, is he actually famously tried to like make excuses to stay. Like he wanted to have a part of the show, like he wanted to own a part of it, and that didn't work out. So he went on to start doing movies, which, you know, he's been in some, we can talk about his movies here in a minute, but he would he would just start doing that. And so Gomer Pyle would get the spinoff, which I don't remember how long that one lasted, but it was all right. It wasn't awful. But you know, a Barney spinoff would have been much, much better, I think.
Those Gomer Pyle USMC.
Yeah. See, there you go. Yeah,
Can't say anything bad. Even if it was a bad show,
Darling!
don't say anything bad about it.
I'm pretty sure that actor is like from my area, so I can't say anything
Who,
bad.
Jim Neighbor?
I think so. Yeah.
I love one of my favorite part is Me, Myself, and Irene.
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey's like, they're watching Jim Neighbor singing. He's like, can you believe that's Gomer Pyle?
Yeah.
Then they switched to Richard Pryor. I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out how long that did run for.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember the show for sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching it like on TV Land.
Yeah.
Oh, there
and
for 5 seasons. Gomer Pyle USMC.
oh wow, it's low. I was thinking like 3, but 5, that's pretty good then.
Yeah.
I would say it's success then. If you can get 5 seasons out of something, that's pretty successful.
I did an episode like a while ago, and it was like top 5 favorite pop culture duos.
Yeah.
And I did some honorable mentions, and I don't even think I did an honorable mention because of how we're talking about Don Knotts, but they're still interconnected just from the Andy Griffith Show, and it's got to be one of the greatest pop culture duos of all time, Andy and Barney.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
It's got to be up there. Like I know you mentioned some stuff about Matlock and being Don Knotts being, I would keep on calling him Barney Fife. Don Knotts being on Matlock. And it just seems like that just would go together. Like whatever one would do, one would kind of be there because they're just constantly interconnected with each other.
And they were very supportive of each other in real life too. So that's it's pretty incredible to have that kind of friendship. I would say it's pretty awesome. Don Knotts, like we said, I'm trying to remember the first Don Knotts movie that I saw. I saw so many because he did a lot of stuff for like that kids could watch, and my grandparents were
We're
big
gonna bring
fans
that
of
up.
them.
We're gonna bring that up, Johnny.
Kid movies like
You want to know what we're talking
RoboCop.
about? Check out the latest episode of Crafting and Drafting, and we'll.
Where I break Andrew's heart and lets him know that RoboCop is not a kids movie.
Don't understand why. Mine, I think, would have been the Incredible Mr. Lippet,
Yeah,
who first Don Dots movie I ever saw, and that had to be one of the coolest because even for the time, this was amazing because this is live action and a cartoon at the same time,
yeah.
and that's probably one of the most groundbreaking things. Other than the first one, I kind of remember watching anything like that. Well, who was it with Dancing with Jerry? I want to say Fred Astaire, but it's not Fred Astaire. I can't remember, but that was it.
Mine was probably my grandma really liked the apple dumpling gang, so I saw that a bunch. So that was probably the main one for me. And then I moved on to Mr. Limpet and the Shakiest Gun in the West.
Shakiest Gun in the West. I just recently watched. Is that is really, really good if you love just guys that kind of get put into a situation they're not used to and they
Yeah.
kind of just like go through it. It reminds me of like what was the Bill Murray movie, The Spy Who Knew Too Little and stuff like that.
Oh, when they're way in over their head.
Yeah,
much.
I love that stuff. Like they're in over their head or they're not quite sure what's going on. That's probably why I love Big Trouble in Little China so much.
Yeah, and of
Also-
course the one movie we don't want to talk about because we couldn't afford it.
Could not afford it.
The Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
Yeah.
Don't mention that to us on the street. It's
No.
brings bad vibes our way. We couldn't afford that movie. But yeah, it's got to be Apple Dumpling Game for me. But like, just go through his IMDb. He was involved in so many things that is kind of mind blowing. Besides, he was in a lot of animated stuff too, like doing voices and stuff. I mean, even his voice is iconic, right?
Yeah.
Just how it sounds. Yeah.
Pleasantville.
Yes.
I think it's one of those movies that it's probably not the best, but he plays a cool role in being the guy in the TV, and he fits perfectly with that time period that they kind of drag the kids into.
Yeah.
And plays a really great role in Pleasantville.
Yeah, he's just, man, what a legend. What a legend.
Yeah.
And it's very clear to see, like you were saying before, just how he influenced so many who came after him. Like, it's just really easy to see that. I watched an interview with him when he was on the Conan O'Brien show. And it's an incredible interview. You can just see it in Conan's eyes as he's interviewing him. It's like, man, this is a legend. And if you know anything about Conan and his comedy, does a lot of physical humor in his stuff and with his facial expressions. So certain influence there. Jim Carrey, like you said, for sure. Martin Short, for sure. So many that he influenced that would go on to influence other people themselves.
I've watched a lot of Conan O'Brien. Like,
yeah, I did too. Yeah,
a weird phase, kind of where I would stay up and watch. I didn't like Jay Leno, but I'd watch Letterman and then I'd try and stay up to watch Conan.
Yeah.
And a lot of big names on Conan. But in that interview, that is the first time I got to say where he really was 100% starstruck.
Yeah, you could tell.
Like, this is like the guy sitting there. And I think Dave Chappelle was there. So that's even great too. You got Dave Chappelle and Don Knotts on the same stage. And he's talking to Don Knotts like he is the biggest blockbuster Hollywood star ever. And I'm not taking anything away from Don Knotts because he is a legend, but to see Conan O'Brien, who interviews star after star after star on a nightly basis, get so starstruck with Don Knotts, and like he was intentively leaning in, and just there wasn't even really an interview in a way. It was just him like, hey, can you do that classic Barney fight thing? Like he was a fanboy.
He almost became like the Chris Farley show skit. He almost became that.
Yes. Yeah. Like, remember when you used to do stuff, the head movement on the Andy Griffin show? Yeah.
That was cool.
That was cool. And then he was like, "Can you do that now?" I think that was the part where I was like, "This guy is 100% starstruck." When you're like, "Can you do it now?" He's like,
"Can you do that reaction face you have now?" Yeah. Oh man, it's so great. It's really easy to see. We're kind of in an era of where physical comedy is not as prevalent as other stuff, and I miss it. I kind of brought this up before, but like there's like a Mount Rushmore of physical comedians, and Don Knotts would for sure be up there. I'd put Rowan Atkinson up there for Mr. Bean. I'd put Jim Varney up there for Ernest. Just these people who just with their facial expressions can tell a story, honestly. And on top of that, their acting is also phenomenal. I'm not taking anything away from their acting. It's just like they had the complete package when it comes to they could tell jokes with their words and stuff and be funny, but they could also, just with how they would react to something, be hilarious. And that is a real true skill.
I watched the Don Knotts special and I missed a lot of jokes because I was doing something else and I was kind of like paying attention, going back and forth, and I missed a lot of jokes because I would hear laughter, but I wouldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'd rewind it and it would just be the facial expressions. And like you mentioned Martin Short and Jim Carrey, and you can see if you watch a Don Knotts movie and then you go back and you watch those guys, you see that character of just not saying a joke, but how can I amplify it through my movements and my facial expressions? And you see, I'm not gonna lie, I watched Shakiest Gun in the West, and the way that he was talking and interacting with the scene with the Native Americans and stuff like that. I saw a little bit of Ace Ventura When Nature Calls and some of that. So I'm not gonna lie. And I think he said, like, what is that, guana? I think they say guana in that too. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've heard guana before. It was just putting two and two together where you get this guy that a lot of people love, and Jim Carrey love. I don't know too many people that don't love Jim Carrey movies.
Right. Yeah.
And you see this guy before him in Don Knotts where he was like, this guy's great. If I could just imitate him and be on his level. And we're starting to forget about Don Knotts. And that's kind of, it's kind of a sad thing where you got to keep on, like I said, it's got to be a transgenerational thing where we got to keep on passing him on through.
Yeah, we should do a tier list one day of just physical comedians, like
does Charlie Chaplin's count? Because I watched The Kid. That was a great
I put them, the Three Stooges. I'd put Chris Farley in this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of names that you could put in this that we could have a lot of fun with, but I'd probably A tier almost all of them. That's me.
Yeah, I don't think
I love the stuff. But yeah, it's just the fact that he could tell a story with not only his words, but his the way he reacted things with his face and his body. Nobody's ever done a funnier nervous person than Don Knotts,
or tough guy
who's obviously not tough at all.
Yeah. I watched one clip where he was talking to kids and about going into the jail, and Andy, I think that's the best part about watching the Andy Griffith Show is Andy just kind of takes a step back from everything. And I guess Andy Griffith was supposed to get a lot more lines, and he was like, no, I'm gonna be the straight man.
Yeah. He recognized what made this show work right away.
And he's talking to these kids about being incarcerated and everything else and getting locked up, and there's not going to be any peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
And Don Knotts won a couple awards for playing Barney, but he was always quick to say that none of that was possible without Andy Griffith. Like, he always gave Andy credit, and it's true that the reason why that show is the classic that he is, it's not just because of Don Knotts, it's because of that chemistry that he had with Andy Griffith that really made that show work because they played off each other so well. And like I would have really thought for the longest time, as a kid when I first saw it, I really thought they were cousins.
I thought they were related at one point too. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were exactly, but I thought they were related.
Like it just made sense because it was very. It seemed like they spent a lot of time together because of how well they played off each other.
Right.
Yeah, I mean I told you one of the most heartbreaking things I watched this week was when Don Knotts passed away. The Today Show interviewed Andy Griffith, and you could just tell like a part of his soul was gone. Right, like he was so heartbroken. And I was like, man, that's how you know a friendship was real. When it really affects somebody like that. So, man, what a legend. Good God. Yeah. So what a way to continue our great Barney month.
Yeah, I definitely have to say I like this Barney a lot better than the last Barney we watched, but both are loving and caring individuals. So
yeah, you're right.
Together.
Yeah, you're right. They really are. They truly, truly are. And I'm sure both of them were somehow into tantric sex.
I was looking at his awards, and there's TV Land Awards, and I don't think he won favorite second banana in 2003.
I think he was also named because they said it in that Conan O'Brien appearance. He was like the top 10 TV characters of all time or something like that. TV Guide list or something to that nature. I would
love to go through that because
oh god, that's nostalgia right there. Just a TV Guide itself.
Oh yeah, I did Eat, Sleep, and List. We did magazines.
Yeah,
TV Guide was on there.
Oh, that's A+ tier for me.
Yeah, TV Guide was like I can't remember what number it was, but I don't think when it comes to TV Guide, if you were born in our time period before even the TV Guide channel,
yeah,
that was seen into the future, as I said, because you could see what was coming on.
Yeah,
big deal.
That was something my mom got every time she went to the grocery store to get groceries for the week. She would also pick up the TV Guide, and I would devour that thing. I would not only read what was going to happen in the shows I liked that week, but I'd have to read Cheers and Jeers to see if I agreed with the cheering and the jeering.
Oh man, they won't show the list. I was trying to see what it was, but even just to find the list of top, and it very odd when it came to that list because I think Archie Bunker was number one.
I could see that though. I mean, that's a major TV character.
Yeah, I watched all of the Families. He definitely deserves it as a love.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Love or hate character. But Don Knotts definitely a comedic legend. And if you love anything comedy, check out Don Knotts. Just anything by him.
Yeah, but just know that it's going to cost you to watch The Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
Yeah, but you can watch The Shaky Has Gone in the West.
What's that on?
It's on YouTube. Somebody just threw it up there. Somebody threw it up there, and I was like, "Oh, a Don Knotts movie. I'm going to watch this. I've never seen this one." The apple dumpling.
I think those are on Disney Plus. I believe. Yeah.
Both of those are. No Ghost of Mr. Chicken one day.
Yeah. Despite the fact that that's a really great movie.
Yeah. I'm so hyped to see this movie like I've never been before.
But I will never allow you to pay for it. So it's got to be free when you watch it.
I swear, the sad thing is if I find it at like Walmart and like the $5 bin in like a Don Knotts collection, it's like
worth it. Yep.
It's gonna
100%.
be worth it.
That's not even a second thought. Yeah, that's a must have. Oh man. Yeah, very excited. We're gonna continue our Barney month somehow.
Yeah, by switching a name.
We're gonna change our friend's name to Barney, and I hope they're cool with it because it's happened with or without their consent.
It's only during once we start because we are starting a wonderful idea that Johnny had next week.
We're going to court.
We're going
to pop culture court is what we're going to do. Next week on the Nostalgia Funhouse, we're taking the Wet Bandits / Sticky Bandits, I should say, are taking Kevin McAllister to court. And we're going to find out if, first of all, will he be tried as an adult?
That's
second of all, was there multiple attempted murders? We're going to find out. on the next Nostalgia Funhouse. It's going to be me and Andrew. We're each going to have a side, and we're going to have a guest as a judge. So stay tuned for that. I'm very excited to see what happens here.
It's gonna be Brian Finch, but
Barney Finch for our concerns.
he's gonna
for
be
our-
as the judge. He's Barney Finch.
Yeah, so we're going to figure out what we're going to do for our Thanksgiving episode. We got to involve Barney in some shape or form.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure.
I mean, we're your hosts with the mosts, so we will figure this out. We will somehow, some way, shove Barney into everything.
Just this month,
Yeah, just this month, and after that, no more Barney.
like stuffing into turkey. We are shoving Barney
Yes.
into your ears.
That's right. Every time you turn the show on, this
Is there a
month.
Flintstone Thanksgiving special?
Oh man, there's got to be, right? They surely did something with Thanksgiving. That show was around for so long. Oh man, because they most certainly had a Barney.
Yes, probably. There's a question there. Who do you think is the most famous Barney?
Oh
If you took the three, like when you say Barney, I'm only thinking of three.
Yeah, the
I might
Purple
have to put
Dinosaur,
this question
Don
on
Knotts,
Facebook.
and the Flintstones. That's the
Yeah.
three Barneys you think of. Yeah. Oh man, well, for me personally, I'm already going to knock out the Purple Dinosaur. I understand that he's giant famous, but like he came after I was too old for him. So it's got to be either the Flintstones, because that's a show I not only liked, but I was a big fan of Fruity Pebbles, the cereal, and so I saw those characters all the time Saturday mornings, and
It's great.
yeah, and also the Flintstones movie brought me the McRib, so so there's all kinds of nostalgia there. So I'm trying to decide it's either between that or Don Knotts for sure, easily for me. But Don Knotts would probably inch it out just barely.
See, I got Barney Rubble.
Yeah.
Just inching it out over Don Knotts.
I get it. Either one, I'm totally cool with winning.
I need to make it. I'm definitely got to make that at some point. Which Barney do you feel is the most? Which Barney is your favorite?
Yeah, that's a great poll question.
I'm going with Barney Rubble every day of the week.
So go to
a little bit.
Yeah, go to our Facebook. Andrew does some awesome stuff on our Facebook. He's constantly putting what's happening in pop culture that day, and he'll probably do little things like, "Hey, which is the best Barney?" We're going to be doing that obviously because we got to know what you guys think. Go to our Patreon. We do some fun stuff there, some fun skits that you get for only $1. It's extra audio that's exclusive to that I'm very proud of. And we're going to be adding more to that. And we need more Patreon so we can afford things like the Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
Once we hit our goal of what we need, about $7.
Yeah,
total.
We need $7. So me and him both can both watch the Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
We will do a review to thank every patron that has helped us out to achieve our goal of watching the Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
Yeah, you will be an exclusive producer on that episode of allowing us to watch the Ghost of Mr. Chicken. And I'm pretty sure you can put that on your taxes. That's charity work if I've ever heard it.
I think so. I think it should be a GoFundMe. Let's just go GoFundMe.
We should do a GoFundMe for $7.
We'll go 8 just in case.
We're gonna cover taxes.
Yeah,
because they do taxes and that stuff now. Yeah, we're gonna do so. Stay tuned for a GoFundMe. We're gonna try to raise $8 so we can watch the Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
That's all we need is $8.
I really want to do this now. I guarantee you there's never been another GoFundMe like that ever.
I feel so bad doing it because there's so many.
There's real ones on there, people who have real needs. Yes.
We're like, you know what? We just want to watch this movie. We don't want to pay.
There's literally people on there who are like, they need money for medical stuff to save their life. And we're like, hey, we want to watch the Ghost of Mr. Chicken. Can you give us $8?
That's like Jerry Springer talk show material right there. Like old school Donahue, Oprah Winfrey.
We're going to have chairs thrown at us.
Yes. Sally Jesse Raphael. Like people go, what is wrong with you? Just really wanted to watch the Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
Yeah. And it's out of our budget.
Yeah.
So we need this. I also will value if we do this. And for every bit of money that's raised after the $8 thing, I promise you that Andrew and I will split it.
I'll send it to the Don Knotts Memorial Museum.
I'll send it to myself, and I'll buy myself some fun things. I got it. There's this Jake Delhomme figure I have to have.
The priorities in life. Oh, there is a Don Knotts Museum.
Oh, where's it at?
Marion, West Virginia.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I was going to say West Virginia.
It's open.
By the way, beautiful state. I don't know if you've ever been through there. It's beautiful.
It's long. Went through there to get to Florida.
Yeah, roads are awful, but they really are. Well, they might be better now. It's been a long time since I've been through there, but the state itself was stunningly beautiful when I was going through there.
Yeah, a lot of nice mountains, and
yeah,
they're called the Mountaineers, West Virginia. Yeah, it's in Marion County, West Virginia.
Yeah, Mayberry is not too technically far from me, where I live. It is down in North Carolina. Well, it's not really Mayberry, but it's what was called Mayberry.
And it's open 24 hours a day.
The Don Knotts Museum?
That's what this is saying.
It's like the local gym. You can go there whenever you want.
You would. I can see it now. Go to the gym. Where are you going? Go down to the Don Knotts Museum.
I'm gonna go work out and go see about Don Knotts. I'm gonna lift a couple 100 pounds, and then I'm gonna go check out what happened with Don Knotts.
Johnny's perfect day is having a Jake Delhomme jersey, going to the Don Knotts Museum while eating a McRib.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't throw in the gym there, because this is my perfect day, and the gym is nowhere involved.
Johnny is our John Panette. He doesn't do ups; he does downs.
That's right. But I did those very well.
I still love that. But he's like, I do downs. I can lay down, I can sit down. You put on some music, I'll boogie down, but I don't do ups. I don't do ups.
Yeah, I can barely sit up. My posture's terrible. But yeah, so that's been the Nostalgia Fun House.
Yes.
We very much appreciate all you listening. It means a lot to us. We thank you. So stay tuned. The next episode, I think, is also going to be a real humdinger.
Yes. And also, if you want to get more of Johnny and I, we just started the Retroactive Sports Podcast doing sports history, and we were on crafting and drafting, like we mentioned, where I get my heart broken many times and
I'm not responsible, because they decided to record that at 9 p.m. and we were asked last minute, and I'm almost 40, so 9 p.m. is like 3 a.m. for other people. I'm beyond loopy by that time, and I'm not responsible for whatever spewed out of my stupid mouth. So stay tuned for that. I do need to go back and listen to it, just out of sheer curiosity.
You've seen some stuff that I wasn't expecting.
I'm sure I do.
I think it's mostly you making comments and then me going, why can't I pick RoboCop? I think that's the whole episode.
That's the perfect show. So go check that out. Crafting and Drafting, our buddies Brian and Alex do that show. So go check that out. But for Andrew Lenz, I'm Johnny Townsend. This has been the Nostalgia Factor. Andy!
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.